Disappointment is the worst, isn't it? When you expect the game to be bad, and it turns out to be bad, that's okay. You know, you expected it. But when you have your hopes up, and you're really looking forward to a game, and it turns out to be crap, well, that really hurts. Hey, what's up everybody, and welcome to the Board Initiative. Today I want to talk about 6 disappointing titles that just didn't do it for me. I'm not saying these are bad games, I'm just saying that they didn't live up to the expectations that I set for them. And 2 of these games I do have, I still have in my collection, but 4 of them I did call. You know, and hopefully if your tastes align with mine, maybe this can help you in determining if, you know, maybe these games aren't for you if you were thinking about getting them. And the first game I want to talk about is The Hunger. So this is a competitive deck building racing game where you play as vampires preying on humans. Sounds awesome, right? It's not. And the problem with this game is that for the deck building, there's just not enough of it. It's not a strong deck builder. I'm adding so few cards, and most of the time these cards are just clogging up my deck, and with no chance of removing those cards. The opportunities to remove these, well, let me back up a little bit. You're going to be hunting these humans, and the humans will be added to your deck. The problem is that the humans will basically provide harmful effects on your deck. And the only way to get rid of them is you need to go to certain spots on the board, which will digest the humans. The problem is that there's not enough of these spots. The opportunity to do this is so few and so rare that it doesn't work. By the time I end the game, my deck is pretty much identical to what I started with, you know, or with the exception of a few cards. The actions, you draw 3 cards on your turn, which I think is far too few, and you have to use all those. But yeah, it just didn't do it for me. You know, I played this, and at the end of the game, I just was not satisfied and just didn't provide the fun that I expected this premise to deliver, you know. And don't get me wrong, the art, look at the art. The art is amazing. Look at this cover. Really great art, but unfortunately, good art doesn't make a good game. So that is that. The next game I want to talk about is Forbidden Desert. Well, this one, I've seen many reviewers recommend this game. People love this game. And, you know, I picked it up on sale, and I unboxed it, and it comes with this really cool desert ship, kind of like the toy factor is high here. There's like a little toy ship that you have to assemble to basically get off the desert and survive. So my son loves this, but when I played this, it was okay. You know, I didn't really love it. At the end of it, I was just like, okay, that was interesting. I found the act of like building up the sand on tiles, I found that annoying and unpredictable, and there just wasn't enough intrigue and mystery for me to really care about what was happening. And I think what left a sour note in my mouth was that, you know, I think I was like 1 turn away from winning, and I just ran out of water or something. I pulled one. You're drawing these cards out of this deck at the end of every turn, and they basically provide hazards, and they move like there's like this sand dune in the middle that adds sand to spots, and you can't go onto spots unless you excavate the sand. And yeah, honestly, I just found it annoying, and honestly, it was a little light too. I didn't find there's a lot of variety and intrigue in it for me. So yeah, that's why. I mean, for a gateway game, if this was like my first hobby board game that I was playing, maybe things would be different. I might like it a little more, but at the stage I am at now, it was okay. The next 4 games I don't have already called, but I want to talk about them anyway. The first of which is Chronicles of Crime 1400. And so this one I was super hyped about. Great, it had great reviews. It seemed right up my alley. You're playing like this detective in the Middle Ages, and The problem with the game, and I don't know if this is a valid opinion or not, but I just felt every time I was playing, because you're scanning these QR codes, I was just like, this would make such a better just point and click video game, adventure type game, that I just couldn't get that out of my head. And I'm like, why am I scanning these QR codes? I just feel like I'm not having fun doing this, so that's all I can say about that. I just did not find it compelling. I didn't find it entertaining, and that's just my opinion, but that's how I felt. So that's that. The next game I want to talk about is Super Skill Pinball 4K. So this is like a roll and write kind of pinball-esque type of game. You're going to be mimicking like a ball going through a pinball machine. And I thought it was cool. The hype was there. I think Dice Tower awarded a seal of excellence. So I was like, okay, this seems cool. I'll try it out. And unfortunately, it didn't do it for me. I just felt like I was erasing and rolling. I felt like I was doing work instead of playing in a game. And the kind of beat your own score kind of mechanic of it, I don't like that. It didn't feel. I know there's tons of different. There's like 4 different boards in the box, each with different mechanics, which is great. But I just didn't find the initial gameplay loop to be compelling enough for me to keep doing this. Maybe if you're a huge pinball fan, this game might do it for you, but I just felt like I'd rather play a real game of pinball and instead of this roll and write. So that's all I can really say about that. I think this one was probably my biggest disappointment because I love dungeon crawlers and Tiny Epic Dungeons. It just, I don't know what I was expecting, but it didn't work for me. I think it's because I've played like bigger games like Gloomhaven and Madara, and I know Tiny Epic Games try to fit a lot in their small boxes, but it wasn't engaging for me. There was no motivation for me to go into this dungeon and defeat this boss. Not only that, but like the torch mechanic, there's like a torch timer, so every turn the torch ticks down until it reaches the end, and if it reaches the last space, you lose. I don't like that. I don't like timer mechanics. I feel like that's not a good way to like. I just feel frustrated if I lose because I ran out of time. It doesn't work for me. Or at least be a little more inventive with how you do it. Like with Gloomhaven, they have your cards are essentially your timer, so you're determining, is it better to burn this card and lose some time, or to do like a better skill or something like that. See, I like that kind of trade-off, but with this, it's just like a slow ticking timer that keeps going down. As well as the game is really difficult. It's insanely difficult. I didn't like it. I felt the was difficult for no reason. Like, it didn't feel earned, if that makes sense. Like, I didn't feel like I was in control of what I was doing. And in addition to that, the main thing is that there was no like narrative, there's no nothing. I even got the stories expansion, which, with an expansion titled Stories, you would think, hey, there's going to be like some kind of stories. I mean, it's partly my fault for not reading exactly what was contained, but I don't know, I felt like it was kind of a little bit of false marketing. I know, people like these games. I just don't, it just wasn't for me. I'd rather stick with like a bigger, grander experience if I'm going to be going through this. Or maybe there's other dungeon crawlers that would be better suited for me, I think, like smaller dungeon crawlers. Like I heard Iron Helm is really good, so I want to give that a shot. But Tiny Epic Dungeons just did not, it just didn't work for me. And the last game I want to talk about is Century Golem Edition. I know this game is reviewed very well, and to be perfectly clear, I think the game is fine. I just felt every time I finished playing the game, I just didn't feel fulfilled. I didn't feel satisfied. I didn't feel like I had fun, if that makes sense. I just felt, okay, that's it. Even if I won, I was just like, that didn't particularly, it wasn't fun for me. So that's just my opinion. I can't tell you. I think it was just too simple. I think that's it. It was just too simple, and Maybe also because I played at a two player count. I didn't play it at 3 or 4. Maybe it shines better at those higher player count numbers, but I don't know. I just felt like it was just too simple and not engaging enough for me. Well, anyway, those were the games that I was disappointed with, and if I'm wrong about any of these, let me know in the comments. Maybe they do deserve another shot, and maybe I just need to, you know, if you have any tips on maybe how I can better enjoy these games, if I do ever pick them back up, I'd love to hear that. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.